I'd like to welcome everybody to the next episode of Roots to Health. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Dr. Craig Keever, and my lovely vegan chef, wife, artist.
Sometimes you're like, who
is also a licensed Food for Life cook. Yes, and then it's instructor. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Cook too, yes. Who's now teaching people how to cook like this for our health. Well, I'm very excited today to present an episode in preparation for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I believe that's what it's called. The month of October is that. And to that end, I would like to plug a book from Dr. Kristi Funk. For those who can see it.
Yes. So for those of you that are listening on any podcast, you can also watch it on YouTube. So they might not know that they can see it.
Yes. So this book is entitled Breasts, the Owner's Manual by Dr. Kristi Funk. And she is now supportive of the plant-based plan for prevention and management. And I haven't read the full book yet, full disclosure on that one. But she is definitely being instrumental in moving the needle forward and talking about this issue.
She's one of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. She is backed by them. And in my mind, she's leading the pack as far as the most recent research that's out there. So
you bet.
She's really, really got a lot of good information.
You bet. All right.
And, like many of the physicians, she did not come at this initially like, I've been raised a plant-based person. She really kept looking at the science, and the science led her, just like Dr. Campbell, just like Dr. Esselstyn. So yeah.
You know more than I do because I haven't heard much about her. So
yeah, yes. I mean, like she was on a standard diet, but she kept looking at things and saying, okay, we should take a look at this. This is not working.
Excellent. So the book really, as I'm looking through it, I've read the first couple of chapters and then kind of scanned through the rest. And it really is emphasizing things in our lifestyle to do to help prevent and maybe even help with treatment of breast cancer. And to that end, she's put a bunch of do's and don'ts in there. I've seen a couple of chapters on that. So, number one, why does this matter so much? A couple of statistics, and this one I've known for a long time. 1 in 8 women. Let me repeat that.
That's a lot.
1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer. Okay. And the interesting thing to me, as I've read through the first part of this is, you hear a lot about the genetic component, the BRCA gene, and I think there's maybe a few more coming out that are being known. That accounts for less than 5 to 10% of breast cancer.
I mean, that's encouraging because you don't want to feel like, you want to feel like you can do something about it.
Right. Yeah. You want to, you think.
So those that have the BRCA gene, I feel like a plant-based diet is like absolutely the answer to stay away from it.
For real.
Because it will aggravate that.
Yeah. So, and then she definitely goes into, and I have yet to read the details of all the different things in lifestyle that will help. So the whole concept, I think that she's kind of working on is how to fuel your body as opposed to feeding the cancer cells. Mm-hmm. And big distinction there. But the fact is that all these lifestyle changes that are proposed by plant-based eating and lifestyle medicine and that whole group has direct and impressive impact on hormones and immune system and inflammation and cell growth.
Because it definitely both is what you put in your body. But if you're putting something that's just over, the doctor that I've talked about that I went to in Dallas, he's like, if you're going to put that stuff, not talking to me, but if someone's going to put, be smoking or whatever it was that he was talking about, I'm not going to waste my time or your money because I can't turn that around. And so just like the cholesterol video that Physicians Committee had, it was so great. It was just showing how the body knows how to get rid of anything excessive if you're not just drowning it with extra cholesterol, but it recircles and or how it recycles, and it's just pretty brutal.
Yeah, our metabolic system is a finely tuned system when it's treated right, and wants to tend towards recovery and health.
Definitely.
So to that end, and I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit here, but one of the big things that she talks about is avoidance of dairy. Okay, and why is that? Well, to me, and I'm giving this lecture regularly in my clinic to moms. I never was anti-dairy, never was, and as I've said, I think in many episodes before, I used to be an ice cream hound. But
Aren't we all?
Yeah, but having said that, understanding that 95% or more of all of the products in the dairy aisle at the grocery store comes from concentrated animal feeding operations. These large CAFOs, depending on what author you're reading and what area of the country you're in, probably 50 to 70% of those animals aren't very healthy.
You're right.
And so they're throwing all kinds of chemicals, antibiotics, hormones, in an animal that's already hormone laden because
had a baby.
Lactate. She just had a baby. She's going to have lots of hormones, right? So all of that filters into the food, into the products. And so couple that with the fact that the dairy industry has allowed a small percentage of what they term somatic cells in their products. Now, that sounds like a very generic, not worrisome term. However,
I know what it is.
What it means is it's pus. You get about 3 drops of pus per 8-ounce glass of milk. And when you get cheese, that's more concentrated. So it's even more than that. So all of that to say, yes, female breasts don't respond well to this kind of stuff, right? And so...
And men, like dairy really ups their chances for a lot of things.
Yeah, and I'm sure prostate cancer is on that list.
Yeah.
Yes. So what are some of the foods that are protective? Let's dive into that first. First of all, she lists fruits and vegetables. What's so great about fruits and vegetables? Well, lots of antioxidants, lots of fiber, lots of phytochemicals. And you're going to hear a recurring theme here.
Right.
That's not the last time I'm going to say that.
That's right. So helping get those free radicals out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Next category, cruciferous vegetables. Yeah. Broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts. Sulforaphane is another substance that primarily in broccoli, and as we've come to experience, broccoli sprouts.
I saw something today and I was like, okay, I got to make some more sprouts today. Yeah. I keep forgetting to redo them.
Well, the amazing thing about the broccoli sprouts, they're super easy, right? I've watched her do multiple batches. For sure. And tell me the numbers about the sulforaphane concentration.
I think it's 10 times what a regular broccoli would be, as far as, and it weakens each day that it's kind of, fully sprouted. So it's
post ideal harvest time
is right when they're ready.
Yeah. So a huge boost to just doing simple broccoli sprouts.
It's wild how that works. This is not the same thing, but just like if you picked spinach from your garden, it's really not high histamine at that point. What the histamines start happening when it goes to the grocery store and it's sat, for days on end. So, the broccoli's good first thing.
You bet. So coupled with fruits and vegetables, berries. I would have lumped this in the same category, but some people like berries separate from regular other fruits. So again, they're anti-inflammatory. They're rich in polyphenols and all kinds of things that help our free radical situation in the body. And
the darker the berry, the better.
That's right. Here's a big misunderstanding: soy.
Just had a ton of it for lunch.
That's right. Soy is actually the actual scientific research that's up to date has been shown to be protective against breast cancer and other forms of female cancers.
And the myth is that it worsens things. And the other myth is that it feminizes males. Which is hysterical.
It's hysterical. A couple of points about that. The phytoestrogens are what's in soy. Different animal than regular human estrogens. And so,
unintended.
right. Bada boom. But they don't act the same way, and they have protective effects. In addition, in terms of the feminizing effect on males, well, I would refer you to Derek Simnett of Simnett Nutrition, who talks about eating soy pretty much on a daily basis to achieve his protein content. This is a very ripped bodybuilder from Canada, has no evidence, no evidence of feminization.
Right.
Okay.
Nehemiah Delgado.
Yeah.
I'm meeting his life. So.
That's right. So, yeah, those are myths. And I have heard, although I haven't seen the research project, I've heard that this was based on old, inaccurate studies on mice.
Mm-hmm. Well, and who was it that was saying, you go to the beach and you go find a guy that looks like he, has the man boobs and say, do you eat soy? I mean, it's probably not going to be the case.
Probably not going to be the case.
Do you eat ice cream? Yes.
Yes. Another thing.
It is especially protective in breast cancer. I mean, against breast cancer.
Yes. Particularly.
Can't say that enough.
Exactly. So soy is good for you. Mm-hmm. And not only does it give you protein, but it gives you all the other protective effects of the phytoestrogens.
Yeah, I feel better after I eat it.
You bet. Another probably little used substance outside of the plant-based world, flaxseed.
Mm-hmm.
I may be slightly incorrect in that. There may be omnivores that take part in plenty of flaxseed, but I've heard it primarily referred to in the plant-based world. And so there are lignans, not to be confused with ligands and whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, lectins. That's the word I was looking for. That reduce estrogen-driven cancer risk. So the lignans are good for us.
That's so good on so many levels.
Oh, on so many levels. The omega-3s that come from flax are fabulous for inflammatory issues. Probably also contributing, those inflammatory problems contributing to breast issues as well. Yeah. Whole grains and legumes. Do you have any legumes?
There's a company that says that. So every time we hear legumes, we laugh.
So yes, primarily relating to the fiber, which reduces the circulating estrogens in the bloodstream. And then last but not least, green tea. This is something that at home we probably don't partake of as much yet. I'm certainly open to it. I keep seeing in the things that I've been reading in the last probably week or so, keep seeing references to, you really want to get 2 or 3 cups of green tea a day. Taste. It is an acquired taste. I'm trying to get there. Right. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. And maybe find some kind of a flavoring.
What's the other tea that
hibiscus.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh,
forget about it.
Yeah. I guess
you need to put 5 other different things in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of sugar.
That's like, years and years ago when I drank alcohol. I remember tasting scotch once. Ooh,
I've never tasted it.
And whoever I was with said something about, yes, it's an acquired taste. And I'm thinking, who wants to acquire that taste? So, yes, much like that.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I think there's a lot of things that once we get past them, you go back to them, you're like, ooh, I can't believe I ever liked that.
However, having said that, green teas in relation to breast cancer and breast protection do have substances called catechins, which apparently are very helpful in supporting cell health.
A little ginger in with it.
That may be something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So moving on, the next segment, as we started to address just before the protective foods, foods to limit or avoid. Mm-hmm. Dairy being one of the tops. All right. Animal fat and red meat. The big problem there, no surprise, saturated fats, heme iron, and then come the carcinogens just from the act of cooking.
So heme iron is a part of that.
Heme iron is a problem, yes. Yeah. I have to go back and reread and restudy the exact mechanisms of how that's a problem for us. But
it's a big problem.
Yeah. But the saturated fat issue has been with me since I first went plant-based because it was one of my motivating factors when I finally understood, okay, these plaques in my arteries that I assume are building up because of the standard American diet, are made of cholesterol and saturated fat. And our bodies make all the saturated fat we need. Okay. We do have saturated fat in our body, and our bodies really can make all of that without any help from having saturated fat in the diet.
I never really realized we had saturated
We do.
in the body. So tell Dr. Clapper's story about the chicken fat.
Oh, yeah. So Dr. Clapper, I think at one point was doing, I don't know if it was a residency or practicing. Anesthesiologist. And he was in the OR and looking at some of these surgeries where they clean out these arteries, right? And there was stuff they were pulling out. He was recognizing, oh, that looks like chicken fat. Because it is.
Yeah.
He finally came to that recognition and realization.
And he's that perfect example of saying when someone says, I'd rather die than eat that way. And he had a younger brother that had heart disease and passed away from it, you know.
And his comment as Dr. Clapper was trying to talk to him about changing the way of his eating, and his brother replied to him, I would rather die than eat that way. And he did. Sad but true. You know, those are words from Dr. Clapper. So other foods that are kind of no-nos in terms of protection of the breasts and promoting breast health, use of alcohol. I did read one line in here where she reports that really any amount of alcohol is not healthy. I'm sure you would find
especially for
people,
women.
Yeah, especially for women. I'm sure you would find people to argue that prospect, particularly people who like to dabble in wine periodically or whatever, or a little beer or whatever. But at this point, science has not indicated that there is any amount that's helpful for breast.
It is a toxin, but I think on a greater level, it's like attacking your microbiome. And so it's like whatever you're building that diversity from, you're kind of knocking out with that.
You bet. And last but not least, in terms of foods to avoid, ultra-processed foods, primarily because the poor nutrient density and the promotion of inflammation in the body. Those are the big problems with the ultra-processed foods.
And it's not like one, I mean, every plant-based doctor takes a different route or specialization if they're tackling heart disease. So there might be a little bit of deviation, but they all line up with the same information of antioxidants, fiber, diversity.
You bet.
You know?
I mean, and
don't get overwhelmed with it is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was thinking this earlier today, you know, it's kind of funny because every time we pick a different topic to address that, plant-based eating is good for this or this, or in this case, breasts, or in my case, diabetes or heart disease. It's kind of comical to me that for the most part, it's all the same information.
Like
that
Dr.
we're talking
Cornish
about.
said, it's not a diet for one person or another. It's for everything.
Right.
You know?
Now, having said that, there are tweaks that make things,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, more effective. So, for instance, with the diabetes thing, my issue was in terms of keeping my insulin resistance under control. I need to eat less than 15% fat for my total calories. Now, without that knowledge and without that tweak, even on plant-based, I wasn't getting the results for my blood sugars that I was desiring. Right. And so there are little tweaks for each thing that are important, you know, to maintaining specifics for this or that. But all right. Next issue that she addresses in the book, and that's I think important to address here, is other lifestyle changes besides food. And of course, the first thing that really pops out with that is exercise. And what this does not mean is you have to become a gym rat and spend 4 hours a day in the gym every day. You know, and when I think about, you know, my busy life and my initial, you know, I used to think of myself as fairly active when I was 300 pounds. But in realizing what happened, I really wasn't. I was pretty darn sedentary. You know, and it took Dr. Morgan, my lifestyle medicine physician, to really kind of very subtly, quietly, politely slap me in the face with it.
Why want 100%?
Yeah. Because what I finally realized was, I wasn't even getting 5,000 steps a day, in just my normal routine activities, And so depending on who you read, some exercise people will say you really need to get 10,000 steps a day. I don't know that number is necessarily accurate. But just as a for instance, I was quite
She recommends
sedentary.
30 minutes a day.
Yeah. And so what then it comes to really the science behind this is actually if you can get about 30 minutes of an activity that just elevates your heart rate a little bit, so to where you can have a conversation, but you're kind of, having to breathe a little bit more than normal, that's the elevation that you want to get to. It's not the kind of elevation where you're sweating bullets and you can't catch your breath. That's too much. But 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week is the starting point for a good amount of physical activity that will make a difference with your physical health.
And the starting point for someone may be 5 minutes a walk, and wherever they're at.
Yes. And to your point, when I first started this and couldn't even get 5,000 steps a day, right. That's exactly right. I started very low.
Don't want to go overboard. Even, 30 minutes can be a lot for somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. So you start where you are. And with the understanding that the goal is going to be eventually, however long it takes to get there, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and just get there when you can.
Yeah. Same thing with eating more fiber.
Yes.
We've talked about this in previous podcasts, but in case somebody's brand new, don't feel like you've got to bite all the tree off at once. We won't say elephant, but just get a little bit more,
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. Starting too much with exercise makes you feel really crummy, and
right. With food,
all your muscle aches and everything will probably prevent you from getting back into that the next day.
And
right?
We can't say, this enough about if you take a bunch of fiber and you go, oh gosh, I was sick as a dog. It's because your microbiome does not have that bug to break down that fiber, and that means your body needs it even more than you think.
That's right. And so with the standard American diet providing probably around 10 to 15 grams of fiber a day, and our bodies actually need more than 30, then moving that up slowly, jumping from 10 to, let's say, 20, give your body a chance to learn how to digest this, and you will avoid some of those initial pains of bloating and whatever other symptoms happen when we just take too much fiber.
And I want to tell people about my class coming up. So from October 3rd to the 31st, every Friday from 6 to 8, I believe it is. You can look on Eventbrite. You can look on my website, journeyofaWildflower.com, and it's on your website as well. I'm going to be doing a breast cancer awareness and prevention class. And so each week, each Friday night of the month of October, we're going to be breaking down not only great videos from, I think Dr. Kristi Funk is a part of that, but Physicians Committee's got some excellent videos on the science behind all of this in more detail. And then we're going to be doing a tasting. So I'm going to be cooking each night and showing them how to do this. How do you start? Where do you start? So,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
it's going to be
you can find that online.
So in terms of exercise, what does exercise do for us? So how is it protective for us? How does it help us? Well, one thing it does is it reduces estrogen levels and it boosts immunity. Those are key factors, of course, because some breast cancers are fed by estrogen.
And our visceral fat, is that any different, would you say, than the regular?
Yes. Exercising regularly will reduce the visceral fat. The visceral fat is the really metabolically active form of fat in our bodies. The subcutaneous fat.
It's the most dangerous.
Yes, that's what I'm getting to, is that the subcutaneous fat is there as a storage place for excess fat for us, but it doesn't have as much production of all the inflammatory problems as well as estrogens So
It's the visceral fat is kind of around our organs.
that's exactly right. That wraps around the organs and is within the organs. It's a part of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and it's all just kind of connected there.
It's bad stuff.
Yeah, it's not healthy for us, for sure. Other things, of course, that exercise helps us with is weight management. Less body fat, which the excess body fat does tend to fuel estrogen production. Stress reduction. Exercise helps a bunch with stress.
Those are important in today's social media.
Uber important. And by stress reduction, what we do is reduce our cortisol. And cortisol, while it's an important hormone for us, it's our reaction to stress, and that creates conditions in the body which, if sustained for prolonged periods by cortisol levels that are too high, aren't good for us.
And this has become a real problem with children. I know we're talking about breast cancer awareness, but they're getting on their phones and they're just that ups that stress, that ups that just dopamine response, and it's really caused a lot of problems
for sure. And last but not least, exercise also does tend to help with circadian rhythms and sleep patterns. All these things kind of fit in, which sleep patterns and circadian rhythms are hugely important in breast cancer, as well as pretty much all other aspects of our life.
Yeah.
So what are some practical tips and daily habits to get into related to breast protection? As we've kind of already gone over, eating the rainbow, get as much of those different kinds of foods, different fibers and different phytonutrients. Those are going to be all huge. If you're on the standard American diet and having a difficult time coming off of it, just pick one animal-based meal a day and replace it with a plant-based one. And if you can get to that point, maybe pick one day a week.
Well, and Physicians Committee has a 21-day how to become a vegan, a vegan jumpstart. And it's like, just tell yourself, I'll give myself 21 days. Don't make yourself feel, and just see how you can do those first 21 days.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it firsthand in the classes. When people commit to that, they're like, wow, I had no idea I could eat carbs like this. I had no idea I could eat and be full. Like my lunch was so full, filling today. And it's like, people don't realize that they're starving themselves on the standard diet just to be able to stay within calorie count.
Yeah. And good point, Amy, that there's a number of ways to go about this, to try to change and become, more plant-based. Another big helper would be just as simple as adding 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed to anything you're eating, whether it's a bowl of cereal or whatever. Ground flaxseed is easy to
definitely need it ground, like you're saying.
Yes.
If people aren't catching that, because it's like it goes right through you if you don't.
If you don't break up the little tiny flax seeds, your body's not going to break through that husk and achieve all the omega-3s and other phytonutrients that it has in it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one that we kind of alluded to earlier: swap sugary drinks for green tea. That'll be tough.
Wow. Okay. I don't know.
Or water.
Yeah. Water.
I'll do water. Yeah.
A little bit of lemon juice.
But reminder, catechins are in green tea, and I don't know if you get catechins.
Hey, if you're in a healing part of, if you're really needing to heal your body, then drink that green tea. It's so motivating when you know that you can change your future.
Oh, I will tell you that has been part of the change in my taste buds, is knowing, oh, this is really good for me.
I really want people to know that it's not us just being so disciplined and just so deprived. It's like, we don't think about the way we used to eat. Really.
We are not deprived.
And it does not, short of me, I don't want to see raw meat, kind of grosses me out, but it does. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to a party. It's not a problem.
Right.
I want people to know, if you can just open your mind to it and kind of close those myths and those misperceptions that you have from your history, and just, be open to it, because it's not what you think.
That's right.
I don't think it is anyway.
I think
you may have a better attitude than I did at first, but at first I was like, oh man, I can't. My friend that was eating this way, I was like, no way could I do that.
Right.
Yeah, I can.
Yep.
Sure enough.
Just takes time.
Years now.
Well, and to your point, one of the comments here that I was reminded to make is that small, consistent changes are going to be what makes the biggest difference. Right. Okay, right. It's easy to get overwhelmed if we've been living the standard American life on the standard American diet, and all of a sudden think, "Oh my gosh, I got to change everything." Right. Okay, that's not what we're talking about here. Right. Small, sustainable changes. And I was talking about that with a kid today in a checkup. It's, we can't dive into this head first at the risk of, okay, doing this for 2 days and figuring, oh, this is overwhelming. I can't do it anymore.
Just like exercise.
Yeah.
And don't make it so overwhelming.
That's right. You just got to do what you can do on a daily basis. Small changes.
If you want more changes fast, I always say if you do it gradually, that's fine. Don't blame the diet. Don't blame this way of eating, however you want to say it. But also, if you're ready to go, let's do it.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I'm not saying don't just jump.
That's how I did it.
Yeah.
I had to because I was like miserable with fibromyalgia. So
you bet.
And blood pressure and all those good things. So.
Well, and the last thing that I'll say about practical tips and daily habits is just as we had mentioned under the exercise category, just find a way to move your body for a half an hour a day. Or if you can't make a half an hour, 15 minutes or whatever is sustainable for you, and just make that a habit.
Yeah.
Because these small daily things that we do, we make those habits and just make it a small thing. And then it becomes, oh, I can do more the next time.
Yeah. And like Atomic Habits, I think said, I forget how they say it, but pair it up with another habit. Like when you're brushing your teeth, if you need to do jumping jacks before you're, do something where it's, okay, I do this, I pour my coffee and I do this. They say to pair it up with something else you're already in the habit of to where you can start it.
Most definitely. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you found this informative. Just a brief recap in recognition of how important nutrition and lifestyle medicine principles, to include exercise and sleep and everything else we've talked about today, is to maintaining not just good breast health, but just general overall health for whatever issues we're dealing with.
It's the diet for Alzheimer's.
The diet for heart disease. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And even if you have none of those things, it's a diet to stay this way.
That's right. That's what I mean. My class is really not only for breast cancer survivors. It's for people who don't ever want to get it. It's for prevention. It's empowering to know that.
Extremely empowering.
Yeah.
So you got more control over this than you realize.
That's right. There's hope.
That's the big issue with all of this.
Our mantra is there's hope. We want people, I don't care what the doctors have said. And this is not somehow to say that there's a medical miracle in one, bout of it, but there's hope in this.
There is hope in this. And I've kind of joked around with a few people, I'm getting into hopefully an education platform for physicians in the state of Arkansas regarding opioids. And I was kind of joking with one of the people I was talking with and saying, it's not quite like that I'm telling everybody, eat your fruits and vegetables and you'll get over your addiction. But it almost is.
Well, and the thing about opioids that breaks my heart is having had chronic pain and having dealt with it some, even as I went plant-based, people aren't really they just want to be rid of the pain. And there's no question that it helps with that. There's no question it can, to see someone who had stage 4 kidney disease in her 20s and had lupus and now has no markers for lupus, no kidney disease. Now, come on.
I know.
It's absolutely empowering. And that's what I do want someone out there, if they're really discouraged, I want them to find hope. I want them to know that there is hope in this, because I was very sick and I was very miserable. And, I could have, had I taken what the doctors were trying to give me, I could have gotten into that same cycle. So it really is a way to take that inflammation out of your body.
You bet. Again, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
All righty. Take care.
Thank you.